Good evening, Facebook. Joe here, my good friend Robert Aguilar.
I am Robert Aguilar.
Good to see you guys. Here we are, day 15 of 366. This is a leap year. So for 14 days, I've been doing this a little bit off kilter, thanks to my man Jeffrey Stern. Yesterday says, Joe, this is a leap year. There's 366 days. So guess what? We're going to give you one bonus day this year. What's up, Patty? What's up, Georgia? Continuing the show up. I honor and appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for the love. We are here in Stamford, Connecticut. You can see we flew into Boston. You came from Houston, Texas. I was up there in Richmond, and now we are here in Stamford. We got a surprise for you guys tomorrow. We're not going to spoil it here. We're going to go live from our adventure tomorrow, so we know where we're going.
Absolutely, it's going to be awesome.
These people out there in Facebook land, they have no idea where we're going, so we're gonna surprise them tomorrow. Because I'm excited about. I've never been to this place before, so I'm excited to be there tomorrow. So welcome to day 15 of 366 Facebook Lives. We are here to pour value on the people. Why do we pour value on people, Robert?
I just think it's important that we live our lives and we live our stories, right? And we have all of our challenges, and a lot of times we overcome them or we don't. But what are you doing with all of that gathered knowledge? I think it's super important that we share, not just me and you, but everyone, right? Because that is how we rise together. That's how we learn from each other. So that's why I think it's important to pour onto one another.
And I think as we're at a younger age, we're afraid to share our stories of what they may think, what they're going to tell us, and who we can be. And the reality is we're all going through something. Nobody's perfect. And one of the things we're going to talk about today is perfection is an illusion. It's the lowest standard. It's possible. Perfection, nobody's perfect. I'm far from perfect. Robert's far from perfect. You're far from perfect. We are all far from perfect. CC, what's up there, kid? Good to see you. Eric Keith, what's up, brother? I'm here, my good man, Robert Aguilar. We're here in Stamford, Connecticut. We are getting ready to go on an adventure these next 2 days. We have no idea what we're going to be doing on Friday, but tomorrow we have a little bit of idea. We will share with you guys tomorrow live from where we're going. So what I wanted to come and talk to you guys about today is the small things that we do, Robert, day in and day out, is eventually who we become.
Absolutely.
So I was listening to something today, and they were talking about these small daily problems. What are the issues? What are the challenges? Who is the one to blame? Because ultimately we always want to blame somebody, and that one person is you. You are the one to blame. We create the storms in our life, and Robert is a master of going through the storms. This guy's been through more storms than anybody that I know, and he's still here to tell about it. And one day you will hear him speak from the stage, sharing his story, powerful story of how he overcome and how he triumphed to be in this space today around all these high-level entrepreneurs, and why we're here in Stamford, Connecticut, and where we're going to be tomorrow. These high-level people are going to be in that room. Wait until you see what we have in store for you guys tomorrow. That's what I'm talking about. Rise, baby. So there's only one thing that really messes this whole thing up: the small things that we do over a long period of time.
Absolutely.
Over and over and over again. So what are some of the things that we did early on in our lives that we didn't realize until it was too late? Sometimes it's weight, sometimes it's money, sometimes it's a relationship, divorces, and all these things that we go through.
I think it's a little bit of everything. There's so many bad habits that we pick up along the way that a lot of times we're not even aware, but we continue to do them. And to your point earlier, a lot of times we don't want to share our failures. We don't want to share those things that have affected us negatively in our lives, right? Everybody wants to share their wins. Everybody's happy to talk about the big home run that they hit, but when they completely flop, we're not so excited to talk about those things. But I think that is where you really have the biggest opportunity to learn. I've had a lot of bad habits. Unfortunately, right? I mean, sedation, we've talked about sedation before, just coming home after a hard day's work and thinking to yourself, you know what, I work hard, I deserve a beer, and then if one beer becomes two, becomes three, and there's nothing wrong with one or two, there's nothing wrong with any of that. It's when you allow it to become a bad habit, which then leads to another bad habit, which then leads to another bad habit. So how do you flip that around?
Yes.
You begin to create better habits that then compound your success rather than compound your, ultimately your failure. And I think failure is a little bit of a strong word, so I'm not finding the right word for that, but I think failure might be a little strong for that.
I think it's addictions. Ultimately, we're all addicted to something. So one is too many, 1,000 is not enough. And for me, I'd bang down a 6-pack of beer in a half an hour back in the day.
Oh man.
Now it's just like, I have a couple beers, I'm good. I'm high on life. So before
Absolutely.
I was sedating the pain that I was going through, and I'm going to share some of that journey with a bunch of you guys out there. What's up, Danny? What's up, Jeff? Good to see you, David. Thanks for vlogging in. So basically, it comes down to your thinking. I call it stinking thinking. When we think about these things over and over again, we create our reality.
Absolutely.
And those small things, we don't see it, especially when we're in bad relationships, bad money situations where we're overspending because I got that credit card or I got checks in my checkbook, so I'm going to write these things. Before you know it, we got this big hole of debt. We got this horrible relationship. Our wives want to leave us, but the root cause of that problem is us.
Absolutely.
It's you, it's me, us. Until we get our stuff straight, those problems are always going to end up showing up.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Joe.
Money, health, relationships, all the same thing. So how do we do that? We become blaming. We start complaining to other people. We become the victim. But how do you become the victor, victorious? How do we do that, Robert? Conversely.
The very first thing is to become aware of it, right? The very first thing is awareness, because you can't fix something that you're not aware of. A lot of us, I know for me, there came a point where I thought I knew it all. I've had some successes. I thought, okay, man, I'm good, and I know more than another person, so you just be quiet over there and let me do my thing. And especially with the wife, that's a really bad idea.
I talked about this yesterday as well, but when we're 15 years old, 16 years old, we know everything.
Yeah.
When we get a little bit older, have a little bit of success, we know everything. When we turn 40, 50 years old, we don't know shit. And Robert was talking about this. I overheard his phone conversation today. We thought we knew everything, but the reality is we don't know nothing.
We don't know nothing. And I think the second that you think you know everything, that's when you're lost. It's knowing that you don't know, and having that hunger to continue to learn is super important for your success. But getting back to how do we fix this, right? Number one, being aware. One super big thing for me is the second you wake up and you open your eyes, be grateful. Be grateful that you have breath in your lungs. Be grateful that your feet can touch the ground. Be grateful.
See, you can even see when you wake up, open your eyes.
You can see, that you can smell, that you can hear, that you can hear the little birds outside your window. You can look over and look at your wife. Be grateful. There's so many things to be grateful for in this life. And when you focus on gratitude, the first thing that you do in the morning, your whole day changes. The energy throughout your whole day is different. So that's number one, and it's super big. So always lead with gratitude first thing in the morning.
There's always something to be grateful for, guys. We've been talking about this in the previous 14 episodes, and there's always something we can be grateful for. The second thing is small daily wins. What are those little things you can do? So instead of having small bad habits, how about small daily wins? If you're going to start building a pebble of a mountain, you start putting down 1 rock, 2 rocks, before you know it, you got big, it's like Legos, right? We start building up Legos. How do you get from 1 to 100? 1 block at a time.
1 block at a time. 1 day at a time.
Small daily wins. 1 daily win. We talked about this as well. Presence. Being present for today. All reality is we have 24 hours. We don't have tomorrow. Yesterday's already gone. Stop worrying about yesterday. Base hits.
Yep.
Small daily wins. And I was thinking about this today. It's like the old days. So those guys that are my age, Robert's age, back in the day they had the red, white, and blue ball. Remember that? Back in the day there was no 3-point line. And the layup would win the game. Many times. Big Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He would get underneath the basket. Wilt Chamberlain, 100 points in the game, 2 points a game. He's got the record. Why? Because the base hits win, the small shots win, the little things matter in life.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Joe. And how do you create those habits? What are those little things that you can do? Whatever it is that your goals are. And we all have goals, right? A lot of times our goals might be in your health. That might be one of your priorities, right? Your goal with your relationship with your children, with your wife, goals in business, financial goals, whatever it is. What are you doing daily that's going to get you closer to your goal? And I think setting those goals is super important as well, because a lot of times, Joe, you get up in the morning, you're super grateful, and you're going to go hit these targets, and you're going to go do what if you don't know where your target is? It's like
what's the target?
What's the target?
What is measurable? Whatever is not measurable will not get done.
Absolutely. It's like what do you call the archery?
Bow and arrow.
It's like doing archery, bow and arrow, blindfolded. You get up, you're super excited, you're super grateful. All right, let's go. Put your blindfold on, pull the arrow back. What are you hitting at? Where are you going with your day?
Probably
Know where you're
the
going.
neighbor's tree, because I think I told this story before. My old house on Terrywile, I woke up one morning, there's an arrow sticking in the tree in my backyard. The guy was ricocheting arrows off the back. I said, yo man, if you're gonna shoot bow and arrows, don't shoot them towards my house. I got people over here, I got dogs over here. If you hurt somebody I love, we're gonna have a problem. But ultimately, guys, it boils down to small wins, base hits, take the layup, pass the ball sometimes, stop taking those three-point shots from the outside, looking for that home run, that big hit to win the game, when the reality is base hits will win the game, the layup will win the game, and the lowest standard is perfection. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. Robert's not perfect. You're not perfect. Perfection is the ultimate illusion. So I hope you guys are hearing something from this message. As I said, make sure you write that stuff down as it resonates with you. Put it into a journal. Start journaling these messages. This is 15 days of 366. Happy leap year this year. You got one extra day to make your ultimate self become a reality.
Absolutely, guys.
Final words, Robert.
Final words, guys. It is the first month of 2020. This month will determine your year, and this year will determine your decade. So whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, build those healthy habits. Last 10 years we've built maybe not so healthy habits, at least for me. This year, this month, commit to creating healthy habits.
There it is, from the multi-preneur, super successful Robert Aguilar. I am Joe Shermer. As always, we will be here every single day as long as God gives us this eyesight, this mouth to speak with, and one more breath of lungs. We will continue to show up, because adding value to your lives to help increase the lives of those around you is the ultimate game. Keep showing up, guys. They have not seen nothing yet. When it's all said and done, together we will rise as one.